there yet?
Oh my God, you've got to be kidding.
I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah, I could probably eat too.
There's got to be some cool eatery around here.
I don't know, I still have some tofu jerky.
Like I said, there's got to be some cool eatery around here.
All right, maybe we should go sit down somewhere.
Isn't this fun though? I love cruising across country. You get to check out the curviest roads and the craziest landmarks and those special hidden eateries.
No, I totally love driving cross country.
That's the spirit.
We should stop at some landmarks.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna see some. The car was created to give people mobility. And as the car evolved, we found ourselves able to travel quickly all over the country to visit relatives and see new scenery we otherwise would never have been able to enjoy. The Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956 spawned our interstate highway system and made the country smaller. It helped turn travel into the multi-billion-dollar industry it has become. Today on Autoweek's Vinsetta Garage, we celebrate our ability to travel by car. And along the way, we find some really cool stops that make our trip worth every memory.
We should be Thelma and Louise.
Oh, we're so Thelma and Louise in a motor coach. Although I hope we have a better ending than that. How would you describe your automotive lifestyle?
Other than running a restaurant out of a bus?
Well, I did my first race when I was 8 years old, and I've been racing ever since. This is my passion.
Stories have been told in Vinsetta Garage for generations.
Well, I have this profound love for the automobile.
This car thing is deep. I didn't sell that car for 10 freaking years because of that one memory.
There are roadside oddities dotted across America.
Just add gasoline and it mysteriously expands.
Traveling. Cars like this are made for traveling, for going cross country, seeing the sights. To me, it's so much more about the journey than the destination.
I totally hear ya. Hey, let's go conquer the tail of the dragon.
What's the Tail of the Dragon? I heard about that.
Yeah, it's that part of State Route 115 down in Tennessee, and I'm telling you, it has to be the coolest road in North America.
What makes it so cool?
Here, I have a video. We were just there last week. Check it out.
There's a stretch of road along Highway 129 that reaches from eastern Tennessee past the North Carolina border. It's ominously called the Dragon. This 11 miles of pavement bends, dips, rises, and curves its way like an asphalt roller coaster. It's a near medieval driving experience that teaches you a lesson in centrifugal force. It is both as dangerous and as majestic as a mythological beast itself. This great American road beckons drivers from around the world to white-knuckle their way through a public road course that gets hearts beating faster than the 30-mile-per-hour speed limit. And what's the best ride to slay this beast? Well, any kind really, but we found that the Fiat 500 Micro Mini does the job just fine.
The road got its name, the Dragon, by taking an aerial photo, turning it to where the north end is to the left, the south end is to the right, and looking at the view of the road, somebody said, hey, that kind of looks like a dragon.
Tell us what makes the Dragon so special.
Well, it's a unique stretch of highway with no driveways, no intersections, no roads, just national park on one side and TVA land on the other side, so there's no homes or whatever. And in that 11-mile stretch, you get approximately 318 curves.
The feedback that I get from most of the car enthusiasts who come here, it really isn't so much about the speed as it is about the technicality of the road. The road itself, it's not easy to navigate, whether you're on a motorcycle or a car.
The tree of shame is where you don't want to end up at the end of the day. If you have an accident on the Dragon and it breaks apart, part comes off anyway, something like that, tradition is you're supposed to bring it down and place it up on the tree of shame.
So tell me, what's one of the craziest things you've ever seen out here?
Man, that's a tough call, because I have definitely seen some crazy stuff up here. People riding motorcycles naked, I don't advise that.
I know all these curves have names. Do you have a favorite curve?
My favorite turn, probably around the 5-mile marker area. It doesn't really have a name. I call it the hooks. It's just 3 turns in succession with big, going north, it's increasing radius, going south, it's decreasing radius curves.
Is there any sort of timed record for the 11-mile course?
Unofficially, if you can get in the low 9s, you're up there with the real fast guys.
So how do you guys keep people under the speed limit? Because I know it's probably tough.
We will assign a trooper to work the area, line patrolling, trying to deter the motorists from breaking the speed limit or breaking other motor vehicle laws.
We get people here from all over the world, and the terrain here is very much different than in a lot of places because of the steep grades and the curves that we have. We would ask that, especially for first-time visitors coming here, to just take it slow and enjoy the ride.
The road itself, you know, winding through the mountains and in the spring, whether it be the dogwoods and azaleas and rhododendron that are in bloom, or whether you come in the fall, whenever the colors here are, it's like a crayon box, it's just gorgeous. You know, you're not going to find a Walmart, you're not going to find commercialism, so whenever you get here, you better enjoy whatever it is that you came here for, because this is it.
Coming up, we travel a road where shopping and driving intersect. And if finding a bargain and stuffing it into your trunk is your idea of fun, you're gonna wanna come along for the ride. Think of all the things that would not have existed without the automobile.
Drive-through window, drive-up banking, heck, even the motel.
Yeah, the car has ushered in the creation of some pretty amazing stuff like the drive-in movie theater.
There aren't many of those left.
Yeah, but in their peak of popularity, you couldn't go 20 miles without seeing a movie screen pop up somewhere on the horizon line at sunset.
Yeah, remember that? Let's all go to
No.
the lobby.
You can be forgiven if you thought that in these days of streaming Netflix movies that you can watch on your iPhone, that the drive-in theater is gone. Well, for the most part, you'd be right, but there are still a few vestiges of drive-in car culture entertainment left here in America. We are at one of them, perhaps one of the best, the Mission Tiki Theater in Montclair, California. And let me tell you, they have come up with a lot of cool ideas to pack the families in. They came up with this whole theme of Tiki, Polynesian, sort of culturally insensitivity kind of thing, but it really works. It looks cool. Look behind me. No, that is not Ryan Gosling. That is one of the Easter Island statues. They got a whole bunch of those. They got all these little palm fronds. They have a gift store over here where you can buy little bamboo things that go in your, you know, the little umbrella things that go in the drink. You can buy the hula girl for the dash. It's full of neat stuff like that, and it draws people in. That is how they survive. And we are going to stick around maybe and watch a couple of double features before we go home and get in the traffic of LA.
So how far would you travel for a bargain?
Well, that depends on how fast I'm allowed to drive to get there.
Do you like antiques, collectibles, people watching?
Yes, yes.
Then you would love the 127 yard sale.
Oh, we know about this. We sent Tara, one of the Autoweek art directors, out on it.
It's the world's largest yard sale. The 127 yard sale stretches 675 miles from here in Hudson, Michigan, all the way to Gadsden, Alabama. I've got cash in hand, and I'm ready to sift through every little piece to find what I need. Some cool automobilia for the office. What do you think attracts people to yard sales?
Oh, there's a hometown ambience, of course prices figure into it, and the chance to get out and meet people. I think it's a pretty neat thing because it brings in more people to Hudson than any other event we have all year long.
People have a need to collect things. They always bring stuff in, and before you know it, you have too much stuff. And there's always something else you want to get. So the prime opportunity is get rid of the old stuff so you can buy some new stuff. I've got a list of stuff I'm looking for, you know, and if I find it, that's great.
What makes yard sales so fun and exciting?
A yard sale, you never know what you're going to find and at what price you might have to pay. Every day is something new. You know, you can find a treasure that you just know another friend or another acquaintance someplace is going to want, and they'll be glad you got it. And I have people coming back there. I lose here every year to just see what new treasures I've brought in for them.
Are you anticipating a massive crowd?
Well, yes, we are. It started last night with a group of people came to the restaurant, ladies, there was 8 of them. They originated from Florida. They drove up here to start the garage sale trek going back south.
People travels like you wouldn't believe, and they come from everywhere. And they all come to 127 yard sale.
We're just stopping everywhere we see garage sale, and you know, there's a lot of trash, there's a lot of treasures, and you know, and what I like about it is that we are negotiating, because I'm not much of a negotiator, but I've learned from all those shows.
Very quickly.
Yes, yes. I go, will you take 5? He goes, I'll take 10. I go, will you take 8? And he goes, yeah. Oh, whoopee.
What are you asking on it?
2,800.
2,800. That's beautiful.
Pretty firm on that price, or?
It's negotiable.
What do you think about both of them for 100?
You take 15. What do you got on it?
$35.
Will you do 20? Have you been involved with this sale for a long time?
This would be my 3rd year. I know last year I think we had maybe 25 vendors, and this year I'm up to maybe 40 total. So every year for the last 3 years, every year it gets bigger and bigger.
So we see here we've got 75 on it. What's the best you do?
I can do 50.
50? How about 40?
That'll work.
Perfect.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't it comforting to know that you're not alone out there on the road? Next, we look at the landmarks and oddities that haunt our every road trip and add a little fun to that ride to Grandma's.
All right, guys. I got vacation coming up, thinking road trip, trying to figure out where to go. What do you think, Jake?
Best road I've ever driven on is in Tennessee, the Tail of the Dragon. Was it North Carolina border? It's like a little racetrack going through the mountains. It's beautiful, and I didn't even see any police officers there.
Tail of the Dragon? Yeah. Jake is recommending Tail of the Dragon. I think I want to go the other way.
If there's one road that I've got to drive before I die, it's probably the Mount Rose Highway. I used to drive it. It's between Reno and Lake Tahoe. And I used to drive it when I was a kid. It was the first road I really went up. It was a 2-lane highway going up over Mount Rose. Beautiful scenery. Not very fast, but incredibly scenic.
I did a Corvette convertible drive along Route 66 years ago. I mean, where there still is Route 66. You can't beat the old motels and roadside, you know, oddities along the way.
Don't you love just getting in the car and going?
If you're starting in Detroit, you got to go for like 3 days before you get anywhere interesting. So I would suggest you fly either east or west and then start. You know?
In the fall, up north is fantastic. The wine country up north is fantastic.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like Michigan wines, is there?
Yeah, well, I said the wine country.
Oh, okay.
Highway 1 is good if you go in the winter on a Monday morning when there are no motorhomes. The rest of the time, it's like the Woodward Dream Cruise.
I've been on Highway 1 on a Mazda trip, and went up with Jeremy from Mazda. Jeremy's scary to drive with on that road.
he thinks he's a race car.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful drive. Yeah, from there
nice.
up to Monterey. Yeah, from LA to Monterey.
Oh, there's a ton of great roads.
I know, Roger, you've done some driving on off-roading.
If you want a road to drive on, I would recommend Highway 33 north of Ojai.
A good off-road destination is you go in Colorado in the San Juan Mountains between Telluride, Durango, and Ouray. There's like these spectacular vistas, and it's not tough. If you do the Rubicon or you go to Moab, you really have to know what you're doing. It's like mechanical engineering, it's not driving. But if you go on these things, they're at the end of the summer, like now, there'll be no snow up there, and you can drive over. There's passes that are 13,000 feet high.
Wow.
It's
well,
beautiful.
You know what? I'm dumping the kids and the wife, and I'm taking Mark.
All right.
I got a guide now.
Driving across country is just a sheer pleasure.
You know, I always enjoy road tripping. In fact, there's always entertaining things along the way to keep me interested.
Are we talking about big giant balls of string, fiberglass dinosaurs, the Winchester Mystery House?
All of the above. In fact, my favorite roadside oddities are those strange sentries known as muffler men.
No matter how many miles you travel on the open road, you're never really alone. There are roadside oddities dotted across America as ubiquitous as corn farms in Nebraska. 2 of them stand sentinel behind me. Slimy, creepy reptiles. One is a vegetarian. The other is carnivorous. But don't worry, also on this same exit is Spanky's Barbecue and Burger King, so we're safe for now.
All along the highways, roadside oddities and attractions line the landscape. We pass them often, but few know the story of how these monolithic monuments came to be.
Hey, I'm John Sauvé. I'm a sculptor from Detroit, Michigan. And what you're looking at behind me is my most recent sculpture located in Milford, Michigan, titled Mephisto. It's about a conversation. It's about having public art so people can have this very dialogue about what is art. A big part of this and it being here is because of those road trips when I was growing up, because we always looked for destinations, landmarks, things that you would recognize along the way. And then you know how much more time you had to get to the restaurant or to a relative's or to your grandmother's house.
That's Chief Pontiac. He was a symbol for the Pontiac Motor Division cars back in the 50s. I believe he's good karma. A lot of people in the city of Cincinnati know that it's a landmark. The arm used to wave, but back in the, I believe, early mid-60s when they widened the road, the city made sure the arm did not wave anymore for a possibility that it might break off and harm a vehicle driving by. He gets photographed probably about weekly.
The tire originally began life as a Ferris wheel in the U.S. Rubber Pavilion in the 1964-65 New York World's Fair. The tire itself is about 80 feet tall, weighs about 12 tons, and it has a tread depth, interestingly, of about 6 inches. Now, if you compare that to a typical Uniroyal passenger tire, its typical passenger tire is at 25 inches tall, weighs about 25 pounds, and has a tread depth of about 1/3 of an inch. So it's about, round numbers, 1,000 times bigger than a typical Uniroyal tire. If you scaled it up and put this tire on a typical car, the car would end up being about 200 feet tall.
This is for the public. This is true public art. 200,000 people a day go by here. That creates a big dialogue when it comes to public art.
You can road trip in a car or even stretch out in a van or an RV. In a minute, we'll take a closer look at this classic motor coach that was beautifully preserved by Mario and our friends at RM. Want to see more of the story? Want to get other great information on cars and the people who love them? Pull up Autoweek.com to fuel your passion for the automobile. Hang out with our editors, read some of their work, watch some videos, have a great time at Autoweek.com. And to learn more about Velocity, go to velocity.tv. Whether you're going across country or across town, you should always go in style. And that's why we've decided to take our tour in a fabulous, flexible motor coach. Joining us is Mario from RM Auto Restoration, who's gonna tell us about this killer bus.
Well, what this is a 1950 flexible motor coach, built in 1950 specifically as a motorhome. And it was built for the owner exactly to their specifications, and that included all the trim on it, the paint color scheme, the trim inside, the interior colors were all built specifically for them.
It looks like a 50s diner on wheels.
Because that was the style back then, and they did do a lot of a retro type of a look inside.
And everything we're looking at, everything inside is all original.
Yes, all the interior is original, the materials that are in there, the curtains, the outside exterior paint colors are original except for the minor touch-ups because they did use it. They used it for camping. The same owner had it since 1950.
Incredible.
And they were using it up until several years ago.
But the wheels and tires, those are modern.
The wheels and tires are put on modern, and the reason for that is for safety. The wheels are much safer to have this type of wheels and modern tires on it because in fact they did drive it.
All right, but this is an unusual ride even for the 50s. So what was the sticker price on that new?
The sticker price on this new was in fact $20,700.
Unbelievable. And now, what would you guess it's valued at?
At least $100,000, probably more.
All right, so the gold trim here.
That's actually gold leaf on there.
Right.
That the customer specified at the time.
All right, so we were cruising kind of, you know, casually, but power on this thing.
Well, power is adequate. It's got actually a straight Buick 8-cylinder in it in the back, so they call it a pusher motorhome. Extremely quiet. As a matter of fact, when you're driving it, you can barely hear the motor running.
Should we take a step inside?
Sure.
Okay, cool. This is amazing. They really packed it all in here. There's a little oven over here. Mario!
Circa 1950 fridge. We have the stainless steel tops on the kitchen, in the galley, as you would say back then. Mahogany trim, plywood, as very, very period. And here we have, I guess, the living room or the sleeping quarters, depending on what you did with the bed. The beds actually move up hydraulically up and down to provide bunk beds.
This is the original fabric?
Original fabric. Smells like Grandma's house.
It does. It has that nostalgic smell.
Neat lanterns up there.
Drapes?
And the drapes are original as well, too. They treated it like their own home, so it's very well kept. Here we have an ice bucket and a well-equipped bar already to be stocked. The dining table, and we forgot to mention, but there's one phone over here, and that's intercom that goes to the back.
Ah, nice touch.
Nice touch, yes. And for your music pleasure, right ahead of us on the dash, we actually have a Chrysler 45 record player that pulls out of the dash.
Even though this is such an old bus, it's got some sophisticated details going on.
About as sophisticated as you could get in 1950.
Yeah. Car travel allows you to see the country from ground level and to experience things like gigantic yard sales, humongous fiberglass creatures, and tails of dragons. You can't do any of that in a plane. So next time you're thinking about crossing country, buckle up, throw out the road map, and get lost behind the wheel of your automobile. But no matter what you drive, just get out there and enjoy it. Until next time, this is Autoweek's Vinsetta Garage.